The wedding dress isn't in my closet. I stare at the empty space where it should be hanging, my heart hammering against my ribs. 3 days. I have 3 days until I marry Marcus, and my grandmother's vintage lace gown has vanished like smoke. My hands shake as I push through the other clothes. Maybe I moved it. Maybe I hung it somewhere else and forgot. But I know better. The house feels too quiet as I walk downstairs. Emma's car is in the driveway, which means my sister is here somewhere. The kitchen smells like burnt coffee and her expensive perfume. Emma? My voice cracks slightly. Emma, where are you? She emerges from the living room, and I know immediately from her face. The guilt written in every line, the way she won't meet my eyes. We need to talk, she says. My stomach drops. Where's my dress? Emma fidgets with her phone, scrolling through something that makes her frown. I can explain. Where is it? I sold it. The words tumble out fast. I got $800 for it online. The buyer picked it up yesterday. The world tilts sideways. I grip the kitchen counter to steady myself. You did what? I needed the money. Emma's voice turns defensive. My credit cards are maxed out and the casino people were calling. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. That was my wedding dress. Each word feels like glass in my throat. My grandmother's dress. It's just fabric. She waves her hand dismissively. You're being dramatic. We can find you something else. The front door opens and Marcus walks in carrying takeout bags. He takes one look at us and sets the food down carefully. What's wrong? He asks. Emma sold my wedding dress, I whisper. Marcus's eyebrows rise, but not in shock. In mild irritation, like I've told him the dishwasher is broken again. She needed money, he says simply. Family comes first, right? I stare at him. At this man I'm supposed to marry in 3 days? You knew? She asked me if I thought you'd be upset. Marcus shrugs. I told her you'd understand. It's not like you're some bridezilla who needs everything perfect. The kitchen feels like it's shrinking around me. I've been planning this wedding for 8 months. That dress belonged to my grandmother. And now it's helping Emma get back on her feet. Marcus moves toward me, reaching for my hands. That's what Grandma would have wanted, don't you think? I pull away from his touch. Emma is scrolling through her phone again, already bored with my crisis. Besides, Marcus continues, we can hit the bridal shops tomorrow. Find something nice on clearance. Something nice on clearance. For the wedding I've dreamed about since I was 12. The dress is gone, Emma says without looking up. The woman who bought it is probably getting it altered right now. Can we eat? I'm starving. I stand there between them, feeling something crack open inside my chest. But I don't scream. I don't cry. I don't throw the takeout containers at the wall. Instead, I smile. You're right, I say quietly. We should eat. But as I watch them unpack the food, chatting about tomorrow's plans like nothing happened, I'm already making plans of my own. The clearance rack dress costs $49. I stand in the bridal shop fitting room, staring at my reflection in polyester and machine-stitched lace. The fabric itches against my skin, and the hem is uneven. It looks beautiful on you, the saleswoman lies through her teeth. Through the thin curtain, I hear other brides discussing their dream gowns. Silk, hand-beaded, custom alterations. Everything I should have had. The wedding morning arrives gray and drizzling. I zip myself into the discount dress and apply my makeup with steady hands. In the mirror, I look like someone playing dress-up. Marcus texts, "Can't wait to see you, beautiful." I almost laugh. The ceremony passes in a blur of forced smiles and camera flashes. Our families fill the small church, and I catch whispers when they think I'm not listening. That's not the dress she showed us. Looks like something from a department store. Poor thing. I say my vows with a clear voice and kiss my new husband, while rice falls around us like tiny stones. Emma beams in the front row, wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than my entire outfit. The reception hall smells like wilted flowers and cheap champagne. I make small talk with relatives and dance with Marcus, while a DJ plays songs from a decade ago. Then I excuse myself to use the restroom. The hallway is quieter, muffled by heavy doors. I'm checking my lipstick when I hear Marcus's voice drifting from the men's room. Honestly, I thought she'd throw a bigger fit about the dress thing. My hand freezes on the lipstick tube. She's pretty chill, another voice says. One of his groomsmen. Most girls would have lost their minds. That's why I picked her. Marcus laughs. She's safe, practical, not like those high maintenance types who expect fairy tales. Safe, practical. The words hit like physical blows. Plus, she's got that inheritance coming eventually, Marcus continues. Her grandmother left her everything. We just have to wait for the old lady to kick the bucket. My grandmother died 2 years ago. The inheritance has been sitting in a trust fund, waiting for me to claim it on my wedding day. I back away from the door on silent feet. The reception continues around me as I return to our table. Emma is telling everyone the story of the dress sale, making it sound like a hilarious adventure. She was so worried about some old fabric, Emma says, gesturing with her wine glass. Like it was the end of the world. I told her, sis, you need to lighten up. The guests laugh. Someone pats my shoulder sympathetically. You're such a good sport, they say. I smile and nod and cut the cake with Marcus. The photographer captures our joined hands on the knife, our faces pressed together in fake joy. But while everyone is distracted by dessert, I slip away to a quiet corner and make 3 phone calls. First, to my lawyer. Second, to a photographer I found online who specializes in editorial fashion shoots. Third, to a boutique in the city that stays open late for special clients. When I return to the party, Marcus is dancing with Emma. They're laughing about something, heads bent together like conspirators. I watch them from across the room and feel nothing but calm. Tomorrow, they'll understand exactly what they've lost. The honeymoon tickets are canceled. I find out when I'm packing our suitcase, humming softly as I fold my new lingerie. Marcus walks into the bedroom with his phone pressed to his ear and that guilty expression I'm learning to recognize. The travel agency will refund most of it, he says after hanging up. I stop folding. Refund what? The Bali trip? He won't look at me directly. Emma's rehab place needs a deposit by tomorrow, or they'll give her spot to someone else. The silk nightgown slips through my fingers. You canceled our honeymoon? It's just a week. Marcus sits on the bed heavily. We can go somewhere local instead. Maybe that bed and breakfast upstate. We've been planning this for months. Emma's been planning to get clean for years. His voice sharpens with defensiveness. This is her chance, her rock-bottom moment. I pick up the nightgown and fold it carefully, concentrating on keeping my movements smooth. How much is the deposit? $3,500, the exact cost of our honeymoon package. She promised to pay us back, Marcus adds quickly, once she's working again. Emma has never paid anyone back in her life. We both know this. I continue packing, but now I'm folding clothes for a staycation instead of a tropical paradise. Marcus watches me with relief, probably thinking I'm taking this well. That afternoon, Emma moves her suitcases into our guest room. Just until I get out of rehab, she promises, though her bags suggest a longer stay. 60 days, tops. She's already rearranged my office space to make room for her makeup collection. My books are stacked in boxes, my desk pushed against the wall. I hope you don't mind, she says, settling into my reading chair. I need good light for my morning routine. I mind, but I don't say it. Instead, I make dinner while Emma explains her recovery plan to Marcus. She's going to start a lifestyle blog, maybe get into influencer marketing, build her personal brand. I just need seed money for equipment, she says over dessert. A good camera, lighting setup, maybe $5,000 to start. Marcus nods thoughtfully. We could look into a loan. Actually, Emma says, playing with her wine glass, didn't you mention something about family jewelry, vintage pieces? My fork stops halfway to my mouth. Emma, Marcus says carefully, I'm just saying if they're sitting in a safe deposit box doing nothing. She shrugs. Investment pieces like that could fund my entire business launch. Those belong to my grandmother, I say quietly. Who's dead? Emma's voice is matter of fact. And you never wear them. At least this way they'd be helping someone who's alive. Marcus reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. We don't have to decide anything tonight. But I can see it in his eyes. He's already decided. After Emma goes to bed, I find Marcus in the living room scrolling through our bank statements on his laptop. How long has this been going on? I ask. He startles, closing the laptop quickly. What do you mean? The money transfers to Emma. His shoulders slump. She's family. How much? It's not that simple. I wait. Maybe $8,000 over the past year, he admits. She was in a really bad place. The gambling, the debts, I couldn't just watch her drown. $8,000, money that came from my teaching salary, my careful budgeting, my sacrifices. We're supposed to be partners, I whisper. We are partners. That's why I knew you'd understand. I look at this man I married yesterday. Really look at him. At his assumption that I'll always understand, always forgive, always make it easy for him to choose someone else. I'm going to bed, I say. But I don't go to our bedroom. Instead, I sit in my car in the dark driveway and call my lawyer again. I need to access my trust fund, I tell him. All of it, tomorrow. When I finally go inside, Marcus is asleep and Emma is raiding our refrigerator in silk pajamas that cost more than my wedding dress. Hope you don't mind, she says, holding up leftover cake. All this stress makes me hungry. I watch her eat my wedding cake in my kitchen, surrounded by my displaced belongings, and I smile. Of course not, I say. Make yourself at home. The bank manager treats me like royalty. Miss Chen, he says, rising from his leather chair. Or should I say, Mrs. Thompson now. Congratulations on your marriage. I sign the paperwork with steady hands. $2.3 million transferred from my grandmother's trust to my personal account. Money I've never touched, never mentioned, never even thought about using, until now. Your grandmother was very specific about the conditions, the manager continues. The inheritance was to remain untouched until your wedding day, when you could access it freely. She was protecting me, I say quietly. Wise woman. She mentioned you'd know when the time was right. The time is right. I drive straight to the boutique I called yesterday. The owner, Vivian, greets me with champagne and excited eyes. I have exactly what you need, she says, leading me to a private room. It arrived this morning from Milan. The dress hangs like a waterfall of diamonds. Hand-beaded crystals catch the light from every angle, creating tiny rainbows on the walls. The bodice is structured perfection. The skirt flows like liquid starlight. 15,000, Vivian says, but for what you described, it's perfect. I don't even try it on. I'll take it. While Vivian processes the payment, I arrange the photo shoot. The photographer, James, specializes in editorial fashion. His portfolio is full of magazine-worthy images that tell stories without words. I want something that looks timeless, I tell him, like a fairy tale ending. Where were your original wedding photos taken? Riverside Park by the gazebo. Perfect. Tomorrow at golden hour? I schedule the shoot for exactly when Marcus and Emma will be at her intake appointment. They'll be gone for hours, discussing her recovery timeline and payment plans. That evening, I cook dinner and listen to them plan Emma's future. Her blog will focus on redemption stories and second chances. She's already picked out a camera that costs $3,000. We could put it on the credit card, Marcus suggests. Or, Emma says, cutting her steak delicately, we could liquidate some assets, those jewelry pieces, for instance. Emma, I say softly, those pieces have been in my family for generations. And now they could fund my generation's success story. She smiles at me across the table. Think of it as an investment in family. Marcus nods slowly. Maybe we should at least get them appraised. See what we're working with. I set down my fork and look at them both. My husband of 3 days and my sister who sold my wedding dress. They're discussing dismantling my family's legacy like it's a garage sale. I'll think about it, I say, but I'm already thinking about something else entirely. The next morning, I wave goodbye as they drive away to Emma's appointment. Marcus kisses my cheek and tells me he's proud of how supportive I'm being. This is going to change everything, he says, for all of us. He has no idea how right he is. I wait until their car disappears around the corner, then I call James. I'm ready, I tell him. The diamond dress transforms me into someone I've never been before. Someone who demands attention instead of fading into the background. Someone who sparkles instead of settling. James meets me at Riverside Park with professional lighting equipment and an assistant. The same gazebo where Marcus and I took our wedding photos 3 days ago becomes the backdrop for something entirely different. Tell me the story you want to tell, James says, adjusting his camera settings. I think about my grandmother's words whispered to me the day before she died. Never let them see your hand until you're ready to play it, darling. I want to tell the story of a woman who knows her worth, I say. The photo shoot takes 2 hours. James captures me from every angle, standing regally by the gazebo, walking confidently down the path, sitting serenely on the bench where Marcus proposed. In every shot, I'm alone, gloriously, powerfully alone. These are going to be incredible, James murmurs, reviewing the images on his camera. You look like you're made of starlight. When I get home, I upload the best photos to every social media platform I have. I write the caption carefully, each word chosen for maximum impact. Then I start making phone calls to auction websites. By the time Marcus and Emma return, everything is in motion. The post goes viral in 6 hours. I watch the numbers climb while Marcus and Emma are still at dinner, celebrating Emma's successful intake appointment. Comments pour in faster than I can read them. Shares multiply by the hundreds. This woman is a queen. The glow-up we all needed to see. Someone tag every man who thinks his wife will just understand. My phone buzzes constantly with notifications. The photos James took are being shared across platforms, picked up by wedding-shaming groups and empowerment pages. But the real masterpiece isn't the post itself. It's the auction listings that went live an hour ago, Marcus's gaming setup complete with his custom-built PC and racing wheel. Starting bid, $50. Current bid, $400 and climbing. Emma's designer handbag collection, including the Chanel purse she bought last month with money she borrowed from our joint account. Starting bid, $100 each. Their shared car, a BMW that Marcus insisted we needed for his professional image. Starting bid, $5,000. I've included photos of everything along with detailed descriptions that tell their own story. Gaming setup owned by man who canceled honeymoon to fund sister-in-law's rehab. Designer bags owned by woman who sold sister's wedding dress for gambling money. Car co-owned by couple who believe family jewelry should fund lifestyle blog. The auction sites are buzzing with activity. Bidders are driving prices up out of pure entertainment value. My phone rings. Marcus, where are you? His voice is tight with confusion. We came home and the house is different. I'm sitting in my lawyer's office signing divorce papers. I'm handling some business. Your social media is blowing up. People are calling me. Are they? What did you do? Through the lawyer's window, I can see the city lights beginning to twinkle. Somewhere out there, strangers are bidding on the belongings of people who never valued what they had. I'm coming home, Marcus says. We need to talk. Actually, I say, watching my lawyer notarize the final signature, you need to check your email. I hang up before he can respond. The drive home takes 20 minutes. When I pull into the driveway, both Marcus and Emma are standing on the front porch, staring at their phones. Emma sees me first. You crazy bitch, what have you done? Emma, Marcus snaps, but his face is pale with shock. I walk past them both and unlock the front door. The house smells like the vanilla candles I lit this morning before everything changed. My car is gone, Emma says, following me inside. My bags, my makeup collection. Where is everything? Being appreciated by people who understand value. Marcus is scrolling through the auction listings on his phone. This is insane. You can't just sell our stuff. Your stuff, I correct. I sold your stuff. My things are exactly where I left them. The car is in both our names. Was in both our names. I had the title transferred this morning. Amazing how much paperwork you can complete when you have time and motivation. Emma lunges toward me, but Marcus catches her arm. This is theft! Actually, it's redistribution. I set my purse down calmly. I'm redistributing assets to people who won't take them for granted. My phone buzzes. A text from James with a link to a wedding blog that's featured our photo shoot. The headline reads, "Woman's stunning post-wedding photos go viral after heartbreaking betrayal story." "You're destroying our lives," Marcus says quietly. "No," I reply, looking at him directly. "I'm finally living mine." The gaming setup auction ends in 6 hours. The car auction runs for like 3 days. Emma's designer bags are already generating heated bidding wars. But the real auction, the one for my respect, my trust, my willingness to be taken for granted, ended the moment I put on that diamond dress. And nobody gets to bid on that again. They're both crying when I come downstairs the next morning. Emma sits at my kitchen table with mascara streaked down her cheeks, scrolling through comments on her phone. Marcus paces by the window, running his hands through his hair repeatedly. "The HR department saw the post," he says without looking at me. "I'm suspended pending investigation." Investigation of what? Misuse of company resources. Apparently someone found my LinkedIn and started asking questions about my expense reports. I pour myself coffee from the machine I bought with my teacher's salary. The mug is warm in my hands, steadying. Emma's voice is hoarse from crying. "Yes, my rehab place called. They're reconsidering my admission." "Why?" "Someone sent them screenshots of my social media, all the photos of me spending money while claiming I was broke." She looks up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "They think I'm not serious about recovery." The irony tastes bitter and sweet at the same time. Marcus stops pacing and turns to face me. "We can fix this. Take down the posts, cancel the auctions, tell people it was a misunderstanding." "Was it a misunderstanding when you sold my wedding dress?" "That was different." "How?" He opens his mouth, then closes it. No answer comes. My phone buzzes with another notification. The post has been shared 50,000 times. Magazine websites are picking up the story. Someone started a hashtag. Hashtag Diamond Dress Revenge. "I'm pregnant." Emma's voice cuts through the kitchen silence like a blade. Both Marcus and I stare at her. "That's why I needed the money so badly," she continues, tears streaming. "The gambling was just coping. But I'm scared and I don't know what to do and I need help." Marcus sinks into a chair. "Emma, I can't do this alone," she whispers. "Please, I'll get clean. I'll pay everything back. Just don't destroy us over some stupid dress." Some stupid dress, even now, even while begging, she can't understand what she took from me. I set down my coffee mug and look at my sister. Really look at her. At the desperation in her eyes, the way her hands shake, the genuine fear underneath all her manipulation. "Who's the father?" I ask quietly. "It doesn't matter, he's gone." "When did you find out?" 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, before she sold my dress, before she moved into my house, before she started planning to sell my grandmother's jewelry. "You knew you were pregnant when you sold my wedding dress for gambling money," I say. Emma's face crumbles. I was scared. I wasn't thinking clearly." "You were thinking clearly enough to spend it at the casino that same night." Marcus looks between us, confusion and horror dawning on his face. "You gambled away the dress money?" "I was going to win it back." Emma sobs. "I had a system." The kitchen falls silent except for Emma's crying and the tick of the wall clock. Marcus stares at his hands. I stare at the woman who destroyed my wedding day while carrying a child she planned to fund with my family's heirlooms. My phone rings, the lawyer. "The divorce papers were served an hour ago," he says. "Your husband's attorney wants to schedule mediation." "No mediation," I say, loud enough for Marcus to hear. "Full dissolution, no contest." "The property settlement?" "He can have his half of the house value, after it sells." Marcus jerks his head up. "You're selling the house?" I nod to him while still talking to the lawyer. "Listed today. I want it gone within the month." "What about Emma?" Marcus asks desperately. "She needs stability for the baby." "Emma needs to figure out her own life." I hang up the phone and look at them both. My husband of 4 days and my sister who's carrying a child she planned to fund by dismantling my inheritance. "I'm going to work," I say, gathering my keys and purse. "It's Saturday," Marcus says weakly. "I have lesson plans to finish." but I don't go to school. Instead, I drive to the diamond dress boutique where Vivian is waiting with champagne and a smile. I saw the news coverage, she says. You're famous. I want to make a donation, I tell her. Of what? I gesture toward the dress hanging in its protective bag. This, to a charity that provides wedding dresses to women who can't afford them. Vivian's eyes widen. That's a $15,000 dress. That's exactly why someone else should get to wear it on the most important day of their life. As I sign the donation paperwork, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. I'm wearing your grandmother's dress today. Thank you for letting me buy it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever owned. Sarah. Attached is a photo of a radiant bride in my grandmother's vintage lace, standing in a church filled with sunlight and people who love her. I smile and turn off my phone. Some things are worth more than money, and some people finally understand their value. They're waiting on my doorstep when I get home. Marcus sits on the front steps with his head in his hands. Emma stands beside him, clutching a tissue and looking smaller than I've ever seen her. Please, Marcus says as I walk up the path. Just listen. I unlock the door without responding. They follow me inside like lost children. I called off the rehab, Emma says quickly. I'll figure something else out, and I'll get a job, a real job. I'll pay back every penny. The gaming setup sold for $2,000, I tell them. Your car hit $8,000. The handbags are still climbing. Marcus flinches like I've slapped him. Those were our things. Were they? I turn to face them both. When you spent $8,000 of my money on Emma's gambling debts, did you ask me? That's different. When you canceled our honeymoon to pay for rehab, you knew she'd never complete. Did you ask me? She's family. When you decided my grandmother's jewelry should fund Emma's lifestyle blog, did you ask me? Marcus's mouth opens and closes silently. Emma steps forward, her hands pressed protectively over her still flat stomach. I know I messed up, but this baby changes everything. I can't bring a child into chaos. You should have thought of that before you gambled away my wedding dress. It was just fabric. The words explode out of her, desperate and angry. Just old fabric from a dead woman. The kitchen goes silent. Marcus closes his eyes. Emma, don't. No, I'm tired of pretending. Emma's voice cracks. I'm tired of walking on eggshells around her precious memories. Grandma's dead. The dress was just sitting in a closet. At least I put it to use. You put it to use at a casino, I say quietly. I was going to win. Tears stream down her face. I had a system. I was so close. If I just had one more hour, one more hand. There's always one more hand, Emma. That's the point. She collapses into a chair, sobbing openly now. Marcus moves toward her, then stops, looking between us like he can't decide which crisis to handle first. I'll go to therapy, Emma whispers. Real therapy, not just rehab. I'll get help for the gambling, for everything. With what money? I'll figure it out. You'll figure it out the same way you figured out how to pay back the $8,000 you owe us? Emma's sobbing gets louder. Marcus finally speaks. What do you want from us? I look at him. At this man who promised to love and protect me, who chose his sister-in-law's gambling addiction over our honeymoon, who called me safe and practical on our wedding day. I want you to leave, I say. This is my house too. Not anymore. The papers are filed. You have 30 days. What about Emma? What about her? She's pregnant and homeless. She's an adult who made choices. Marcus runs his hands through his hair again. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. For the first time in this relationship, I'm being completely honest. Emma looks up from her hands. What if I give you back the money from the dress? You don't have it. I'll get it. How? Silence. I could... Emma's voice is barely a whisper. I could contact the woman who bought it, explain the situation, maybe she'd sell it back. I think of Sarah's text, her radiant photo in my grandmother's lace. A woman who treasures what she has instead of destroying it. No, I say firmly, but if she understood, I said no. Emma starts crying again. Marcus puts his arm around her shoulders, and for a moment they look like what they've always been: a team, partners in taking what they want and expecting forgiveness. "We'll do anything," Marcus says desperately. "Couples therapy, family counseling, whatever it takes." "I don't want to fix this," I tell him. "I want to end it." "Mm. Because of a dress?" "Because of everything the dress represents." I walk to the kitchen drawer and pull out the folder I prepared this morning. Inside are printouts of all the auction listings, screenshots of every social media post, copies of the divorce papers. "This is who you are," I say, spreading the papers on the table. "People who take and expect endless forgiveness. People who call betrayal family loyalty and theft helping each other out." Marcus stares at the evidence of his life being sold piece by piece. "This is who I am," I continue, pulling up the viral photos on my phone. "Someone who knows her worth. Someone who won't accept less than she deserves." "We can change," Emma pleads. I look at her for a long moment, at her desperate eyes, her shaking hands, her promises that sound exactly like all the promises she's made before. "No," I say simply. The word hangs in the air like a verdict. Marcus stands up slowly. "That's it? Just no?" "That's it. What about forgiveness? What about second chances?" I think about my grandmother's wedding dress, now bringing joy to a woman who values it. About the diamond gown that will soon make another bride's dreams come true. About all the second chances I've already given, all the forgiveness that was taken for granted. I forgave you when Emma borrowed money for her emergency last Christmas. I forgave you when she moved in for just a few weeks that turned into months. I forgave you when you chose her gambling debts over our honeymoon. My voice stays steady, calm. But I won't forgive you for selling my wedding dress and expecting me to smile about it. Emma opens her mouth to argue, but I hold up my hand. I won't forgive you for calling my grief over my grandmother's dress being dramatic. Marcus starts to speak, but I'm not finished. And I won't forgive you for thinking I'm so desperate for love that I'll accept anything you choose to give me. The kitchen falls silent except for Emma's quiet crying. 30 days, I repeat. Then I want you both out of my life. I walk toward the stairs, leaving them sitting in the wreckage of their assumptions. "That's really it?" Marcus calls after me. "And after everything we've been through?" I pause at the bottom of the stairs and look back at them one final time. Everything we've been through is exactly why it's over. 6 months later, I'm choosing paint colors for my new apartment. The walls are bare white, waiting for me to decide who I want to be in this space. Soft sage green for the bedroom, warm cream for the living room. Colors that make me feel peaceful instead of invisible. My phone sits silent on the kitchen counter. No desperate text from Marcus. No manipulation from Emma. No crisis that requires my immediate sacrifice. The silence is golden. I spread fabric samples across my new dining table, choosing curtains that let in light instead of blocking it out. Everything in this space is mine. Chosen by me, paid for by me, arranged to make me happy. The doorbell rings. Through the peephole, I see a delivery woman holding an enormous white box. "Signature required," she says when I open the door. Inside the box is a wedding album. Not my wedding album. This one is leather-bound and elegant, filled with professional photographs that take my breath away. A young woman in my grandmother's vintage lace beams from every page, surrounded by family who clearly adore her. The note is handwritten on cream cardstock. "Dear friend, thank you for making my wedding day possible. Your grandmother's dress made me feel like a princess. I wanted you to see how loved it was, how perfectly it fit into our celebration. I hope these photos bring you joy instead of sadness. With all my gratitude, Sarah." I turn through the pages slowly. Sarah's joy radiates from every image. The dress flows around her like it was made for her body, her movements, her happiness. In one photo, she's dancing with her new husband, the lace catching light as she spins. In another, she's laughing with her bridesmaids, the vintage beading sparkling like stars. This is what the dress was meant for. Not hanging in my closet like a museum piece, but being worn by someone who treasures every moment. My laptop chimes with an email notification. The charity organization I donated the diamond dress to has sent photos from their latest recipient, a single mother who couldn't afford a wedding dress for her courthouse ceremony. She stands in my $15,000 gown looking like royalty, her two young children holding her hands. This dress made me feel like I deserved something beautiful, she wrote in her thank you note, like I was worth celebrating. I closed the laptop and walked to the bathroom mirror. The woman looking back at me has changed. Same face, same eyes, but something fundamental has shifted. She stands straighter, breathes deeper, takes up space without apologizing for it. 6 months ago, I was someone who accepted scraps and called it love. Someone who smiled through betrayal and called it family loyalty. Someone who made herself smaller so others could feel bigger. Now I see someone who walked away from people who didn't value her. Someone who turned her pain into power and her betrayal into boundaries. Someone who knows that being alone is better than being with people who make you feel lonely. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Saw your story online, going through something similar. Your photos gave me courage to leave. Thank you. Then another. My sister shared your post. Filed for divorce today. Thank you for showing me what strength looks like. And another. Wearing my grandmother's ring to my own wedding next month because of your story? Some things are too precious to sell. I smile at my reflection, seeing exactly who I was meant to be all along. Someone who knows her worth. Someone who refuses to negotiate it, and someone who chooses herself.